Yo, what is up, guys? Today I'm bringing you our first Black Ops 7 full release settings video. Today we're going to talk about our dead zones, our FOV, our sensitivity. We're going to talk about graphic settings. I'm going to show you guys how to overclock your controller. I'm going to show you guys everything that I'm currently doing that allows me to play the game at high frame rates at 4K, and it's going to blow your guys' mind. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you guys take any of my settings or learn something today, make sure you guys click that like and subscribe button. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to jump into is our juicy controller settings. So currently this is what I played the entire first day with. I played about 18 hours of gameplay. I did a 24-hour stream, and I was experimenting with a bunch of controller settings because they did actually nerf the aim assist in this game. So I was trying to figure out what I liked playing on, the best, and what basically helped me process that whole aim assist fix. And currently, I still play on default. I still play on flipped. I played it on 1.8 today, but obviously this might change for me. For your sensitivity, play on what you prefer, but overall what's going to matter the most is going to be your dead zones, your aim curve, and stuff like that, because that is going to reflect how your sensitivity actually reacts and allows you to fine-tune that even further. So I play on flipped, obviously default. You're gonna want to turn your controller vibration off, turn all this stuff off. It's kind of pointless. Trigger effects, if you like haptics, I guess turn them on, but I don't like them, they're distracting. Currently I'm playing on left stick 0, left stick 65, 0 on the right stick, and 100 on the max. And what I'm gonna tell you now is I am using TMR sticks from Battle Beaver. These are drift resistant sticks that basically don't have stick drift or have very minimal stick drift, or the stick drift will not actually get very bad pretty much for the entire life cycle of my controller. I pretty much don't have to replace my sticks for a very long time, because the stick drift, even on controllers that I was using for like 7 to 8 months, battering and bruising them, playing rank play every day, the stick drift was basically none, if visible at all. The only thing that you would get is a looser feeling stick, because obviously it loosens up, but you didn't actually get drift, which is awesome. So I'll be playing on 0.65. So 0 will allow you to activate your movement a lot quicker. And it'll also allow you to reach maximum movement speed by hitting 65% of the length of your stick to the outer ring. That's going to allow you to basically get less dead slides and go activate your fast movement a lot quicker, especially when strafing left to right. The reason I'm playing on 0, 100, and you'll notice a lot of people play on 99 and they play with something like 3, is, again, I'm playing on 0 because I get very minimal drift, but also it's going to relate to my aim curve, which is a lot different than what most people have been playing on lately, and I'll get to that very shortly. But I've been playing on 0, and I've been playing on 100 because with 100 pretty much allows me to use the max range of my stick. And since I have a controller with good circularity, it basically allows me to hit that 100 threshold and not have to not have any sort of dead zone on the outer edges. It also makes it feel like a little bit stiffer. It makes the aim curve a little bit longer, so it doesn't activate as quickly in terms of the ups and downs of it, depending on what you're playing on. What I want you guys to do, though, is I want you to experiment with this. I don't want you guys to copy and paste people's settings here, because it's going to differ. It's going to differ from everybody's preferences, but also your controller. Do not change your dead zone to the lowest possible value without drift. That is not what I want you to do. I want you to change your dead zone, at least when it comes to this minimum, to how sensitive you like your micro adjustments to be. So I'm going to go into the range, and I'm going to demonstrate this for you. We are going to go to the range real quick. So at a 0 dead zone, what that is going to mean is whenever I barely move my stick, right? I'm barely moving it right now. It's going to make my movements register. That means that whenever I'm aiming at targets, if I barely move my stick, it's going to activate my sensitivity, and it's going to make me move. If you put this higher, this is going to make it so when you do micro adjust, let's go to 10 to make something egregious. When you go to micro adjust, right now I'm currently moving my stick in a circle. You'll notice my movement is way less than it was before. It's not even moving in some cases as I'm doing this circular motion. What that's going to mean is whenever you actually get on target, if you have this minimum up a little bit, even just a bit, you are going to be less likely to make micro adjustments that throw you off target. So do not put this on 0. Do not put this on 10. I want you to find what works for you. If you notice that when you are aiming at a target, you are moving off of that target while trying to control recoil. turn this up a little bit, maybe by 1, maybe by 2. Try again. If you notice that when you are on an enemy and you physically cannot track them properly, or you cannot control recoil enough, I want you to turn this down. Typically, for most players, this range is going to fall between 0 and something like 5, okay? Do not do this in relation to stick drift. If you have stick drift, and the only way you don't have stick drift is by putting this to 18, you're fucking trolling. I want you to put this at something that is comfortable to you. And if you get stick drift to the point where your controller is moving for you while aiming, not while just standing still. If you put your controller like this and it's moving, who cares? You're not actually doing anything. If you are trying to aim and you'll notice that you're trying to move to the left and for some reason your controller pulls all the way to the right for whatever reason, you need a new controller. And I recommend getting the TMR sticks. So yeah, put this to whatever you like. Minimum for the max, I would recommend putting it to 99 or 100. But in some cases, you can turn this down. I wouldn't turn this down to egregious amounts, but maybe just a little bit could actually help you. Because let's say you have short thumbs, or you don't like how uncomfortable it is to move your stick all the way to the edge of your rings, right? Maybe that puts some stress on your thumbs. What this does is it cuts that range down. So basically, in order to reach maximum sensitivity and maximum turning speed, you don't actually need to hit the edge of your stick. You can hit about 90% of it, right? And it's going to activate and it's going to be like you're pushing it to 100. So this basically shortens the amount of movement that you need in order for you to hit that maximum sensitivity and for you to, accurately turn and stuff like that. So in some cases, you could even try that. I've tried it and it was pretty good when I used it. But again, I wanted you guys to get an understanding of what all this stuff connects. We're going to go into the sensitivity multiplier. I put this to 1.0 on everything, but this allows you to control your sensitivities, your sensitivity scaling based upon what you're doing. So tablet sensitivity is when you're using a score streak or something that pulls up a tablet. Air vehicles, ground vehicles, all that stuff. I typically just put everything to 1.0 because I just play on 1.0 for everything. But here is where you would turn your sensitivity down if you like a slower ADS sensitivity. If you want your aim to feel slower whenever you ADS, turn this down. Okay? Everything else, we're just going to leave off. Look inversion on foot, standard, whatever. Then we're going to go to advanced sensitivity. So now this is where my thing differs than most people currently. And again, I like this currently because of the way the aim assist feels. If they change aim assist in the future, they might, because I know a lot of people are complaining. We'll come back to this. We'll talk about it. But for now, this is actually what I'm playing on. I'm playing on linear. I like the way linear feels. It allows me to control recoil a lot more. I noticed a lot of people said that, for example, I gotta actually make a class because I don't have one here. But I noticed a lot of people said that the recoil on this gun, for example, was pretty hefty and pretty bad, and they were having a lot of trouble controlling it. Well, with this, I was having a lot easier time actually pulling down, and it kind of reminded me of why I played on this in MW3. In MW3, I had a lot of clips of me mapping people with the rival and controlling the recoil here, and I've been liking this. I'm gonna play with this more today, and I will update you guys in the future whether I stick to it. But I kind of like linear. I think dynamic, the way dynamic worked with Call of Duty's aim assist essentially was why it was so good in Call of Duty. You'll notice if you go and play other games, dynamic is not even the meta, and there's no reason for it besides the aim assist in COD. The aim assist with rotational aim assist in COD would keep you on target so well, and it was so sticky that dynamic, right, being as sensitive as it is at micro adjusting, right, you'll notice when you use dynamic and barely move your stick, it's very quick, it's very fast. It would allow you to make micro adjustments, but since the aim assist was so strong and so sticky, it wouldn't throw you off target. It would make it so you would stay on target and still have that ability to make those micro adjustments to control recoil. And with dynamic now, since it's not so sticky, I find I either get thrown off target sometimes and I struggle to actually track enemies, or sometimes it feels like controlling the recoil, I almost get stuck. It doesn't feel as bad in the firing range because the targets are standing still. But whenever I'm getting shot at, whenever I actually have to track targets in game, sometimes it just feels like I physically cannot, and it's just a hard time. So I want you guys to try linear and let me know if you like it. It felt like I actually had true control of my aim. Dynamic didn't feel bad. It's definitely still playable, but this is currently what I'm using. Obviously, this is not for everybody. Some people might not like it. Don't take this as I think one is 100% better than the other and everyone should switch. Maybe just try it, see if you like it. One thing I'll give you a tip with the linear is, again, The micro adjustments are not so quick. So it'll allow you to basically be able to pull down the stick higher or more to control recoil and have a little bit finer control when going for those movements. It also feels like it's a lot easier to like snap onto targets because, you know, the aiming input is like a raw 1-to-1 or as close to it as possible. Because I think COD linear isn't actually true linear, which is fine. I like the way this feels. So yeah, give it a shot, man. Let me know if you guys like it. If you guys stick around with it. But outside of that, you're going to want to put your ADS transition timing onto instant. This makes it so that as soon as you click the left trigger or your left bumper to aim in, your sensitivity will automatically slow down. The only time you will want to change this to gradual or after zoom is if you are playing on sensitivities that are different from your aiming sensitivity and your normal hipfire sensitivity. So gradual, what that's going to do is it's going to gradually slow your sensitivity down until it's at your aiming value. This is going to be very useful for weapons that aim in slow, but it's also going to be very useful for players that play on settings that are far different from their ADS sensitivity or their turning sensitivity. So for example, if you play on 0.5, right, and you're going to turn a snap on somebody and you L trigger, it's going to automatically put you into that slow zoom sense that you just set, and it's going to make it feel like sometimes you might struggle to snap because that sensitivity transition is very jarring. Gradual or after zoom will make it so that as you are going to L trigger into a target, your sensitivity will slow down either right after you finally are zoomed in, so you can kind of drag your aim a little bit more, or gradually till you're fully ADS'd. So again, for guns that have slower ADS times, you know, this could matter more. Like for example, this one. This is a pretty slow ADS time. So if I go to snap, right, you'll notice you see how long it takes to slow down. Where if I put this on instant, for example, as soon as I click my left trigger, right, it slows down. As soon as I do. So this could help you snap with weapons that take a while to ADS, like snipers, for example, or LMGs. It's not going to matter so much when you're using weapons that instantly aim in, but the difference is still there. So it's really up to you what you want to use there. I would recommend this gradual or after zoom for people that play on very low ADS senses, like 0.5, for example, or even like 0.6. 0.7 and higher, instant is probably still good enough. That's up to you. Okay. Next, you're going to obviously have aim assist on. This is a placebo setting that I know a lot of people, you know, like to tweak on, but I leave mine on. I've turned it off and they feel the same. If you really feel like this makes a difference, again, this is in the motion sensor functions. So as long as you have motion sensor functions off, this should not activate. But if you feel like this makes a difference, hey, turn it on, turn it off, whatever the fuck you want. But I promise you, it shouldn't make a difference. Literally says even here, the motion sensor's function sensitivity is scaled down proportionally to ADS zoom level. Motion sensor function, not affecting your aim, but by all means, do whatever the hell you want. Okay. All right. Next, we're gonna go to movement. We play with sprint assist on. I don't play on tactical sprint assist. I like to have control of when I tac sprint if I'm using tac sprinter, which most of the time I'm not. But again, it allows me to kind of have that control, right? If I want to normal sprint like this, so I can have a faster hipfire time or ADS time, well, then I'm going to use normal sprint. But sometimes it's just going to allow you to not get caught tac sprinting because tac sprint slows your ADS speed and all that stuff down. But yeah, I keep mine on. 0 on. Mantle assist I have completely turned off. Crouch assist I have completely turned off. These allow you to kind of do automatic movements in the game for you, but I would rather have full control of when I decide to do movements. I don't want the game deciding for me. Next, I have corner slicing on. The only reason I have this on is, well, at least in the last game, whenever you would corner slice, I don't think I can activate it here. It would basically make it so your character would slant his gun pretty far, and it would make it so you would have more movement, or not movement, but more like vision on the up and down. Sorry, my sensitivity is off. I gotta turn this off. It would make it so you would have more vision vertically whenever you would go to you know, peek a corner. But in this game, I don't think it's like as like egregious, the setting. It doesn't like peak as much as it did in Black Ops 6. So realistically, it doesn't really matter if you have it on or off. It should basically function very similarly. Wall jump assist, turn this off, man. All this is gonna do is it's gonna wall jump for you in certain cases, and I would rather not do that because sometimes I don't want to wall jump. Sometimes I just want to jump towards an area, and I don't want this game doing it for me. Combat roll assist, I actually would recommend turning this on partial, because what this is going to do is it's going to roll whenever you're playing the game and you're jumping from a high ass height. it's gonna roll if it can prevent you from dying. So putting this on partial is not a bad thing, because it'll just automatically make sure that you don't die. I don't think this is really going to affect you in multiplayer. It might affect you on the 20v20 maps, and it'll probably affect you in Warzone. So putting this on partial is definitely not a bad thing, because again, it's just going to prevent you from dying. It's not going to prevent you from taking damage. If you want it to prevent you from taking damage at all, you can put this on always. But there's some times where maybe you want to fall off something and you know you're going to take a little bit of damage and you don't want to roll because it might, prevent you from moving. Maybe keep this on partial. But yeah. Next, we're going to go to slide and dive behavior. I play on hybrid. If you haven't already got used to hybrid, what are you doing? It's just superior than everything else, because it allows you to basically have the same functionality as slide only or dive only. All that you have to do is hold down your sprint button and then hit the circle button, and it's going, or your slide button, it's going to dive for you. And if you don't hold down the sprint button and you just slide, it's going to slide. So it gives you the same functionality as slide only and dive only, except you just need to hit one extra button to dive. It's just better because you can do all the movements in the game. There's no delays like there is on tap to slide, because even with this delay on short, there's still a delay, and it's going to cause you to slide at bad times. Okay. Next, keep sprint restore on, sprint slide maintain sprint. No point in turning these off. Parachute automatic behavior. You can just have this on off. For my Warzone people, wingsuit activation, haven't really played around with it, so I don't know. I'm gonna leave this on default. Slide combat roll behavior, tap to slide. I don't really know what this does. I assume it has to do with the combat roll whenever you are falling from a height, but I'm just gonna leave that on default. No point touching that. Movement advanced settings, I put mine on single tap sprint. Everything else keep default. We're gonna go to combat. And then this is where you can prioritize your finishing move or make it so you only go for body shield. If you're doing this for competitive reasons and you don't really want to embarrass your enemies, put this on body shield only. Finishing moves often will get you killed. They are very funny and fun to do to people, but if you want a competitive setting, always go for the body shield. The body shield is the best, and you're gonna obviously take advantage of it when you go behind people and grab them. So definitely go for body shield only if you want a competitive setting. Arbor plate behavior, apply all, that's for Warzone. Manual fire behavior, you want this on press, never do it on hold. If you do this on hold, then certain weapons that have fire rate, that don't have fire rate caps, will actually fire slower than they normally do. Combat advanced settings, keep all this stuff on default, no point in really touching this. Actually, this is where you guys can go to play on prioritize interact or prioritize reload. But there isn't a lot of doors in multiplayer, so I don't really think this matters. But I've always played on tap to reload just because I come from the OG COD days. Yeah, I just play on tap to reload, so I'm gonna keep that on there. All this stuff else does not matter, and that's gonna be our controller settings. So you guys do like them or want to experiment with them and take some of the stuff that I do, let me know in the comments, man. Next, we're gonna go to our graphics settings. So here I play on full screen exclusive. Make sure this is on the highest refresh rate. Make sure this is on the highest resolution that you play on. And make sure that your brightness is on a suitable level for you. In case the game is too dark, maybe turn this up, but I would recommend turning up your monitor settings, or maybe playing around with the NVIDIA control panel like color scheme for visibility. But I put this on 47. NVIDIA reflex low latency. So if you are CPU bound, you're going to want to put this on plus boost. If you are GPU bound, you just want to put this on. So basically, if your CPU is very weak compared to your graphics card, put this on plus boost. If your graphics card is stronger, put this on. For reference, I have a 5090 and I have a 9800 X3D. Next, you're gonna go to eco mode preset, put this on custom, turn these two to off, put this on unlimited frame rate, reduce menu render resolution, put this on native, but this doesn't really matter. This is just for your menus. Focus mode 0, put your HDR off. Don't play with HDR unless you just want to play on a movie screen. But if you're a competitive player, turn this off. Okay, graphics preset. So I actually play on the DLSS on performance mode and transform model. For me, this looks better than Fidelity Cast. You guys can try this, but I would definitely not play on the CNN model. CNN model definitely looks worse. It looks blurry. Transformer model gives you a more stable image. It looks a lot nicer. You don't get as many performance gains, and no, there is no input delay from doing this. As long as you don't play with frame gen on, this does not actually add a delay. All this does is it upscales your resolution, and it adds a different type of anti-aliasing into the game, because you can't turn off anti-aliasing all together. You put fidelity cast on, it uses TAA, anti-aliasing, which basically makes the game look blurry, and it tries to apply a sharpening filter to the game to minimize that effect. Do not play on any of these other settings. Play on NVIDIA DLSS. Try the performance model. If you guys don't like the way it looks, try quality. Again, your performance might not increase as much. It might not increase at all, but your game's going to look better, in my opinion. I fucking hate the way fidelity cast looks. So I've been playing on NVIDIA DLSS. And again, this could have to do with the fact that I have a 4K monitor. This actually looks very good to me. I can't tell the difference. So yeah, turn everything off here. VRAM scale, you guys will want this on the highest amount. And then pretty much everything else in these settings, you're going to want to put to the very lowest settings or low or off. Just keep going the lowest setting and off. For this, you're going to want to put this on minimal. You're going to want to put this on the lowest amount and put download limits off. Just put this on all of the lowest settings. The only thing I will tell you here is for those of you guys that really love your camos or want your gun model to look better in game, turn this to a higher amount. You put this on high and load into the game. You might not be able to tell my stream, but you'll notice that the weapon models and camos, so let me actually put a camo on for you. You'll notice that the weapon camos actually look a lot better. You'll notice they're a lot more detailed, they're a lot shinier and stuff like that. Whereas if you turn this all the way to the lowest setting, you'll notice that your texture resolution and the weapons are a little bit more pixelated. You might not be able to tell, through the stream, but if you go to ADS, you'll notice that the iron sights and all that stuff, they're just a lot less detailed. I personally like to put this on normal. It just gives me a little bit more enjoyment from looking at my weapon, but honestly, it might not be much of a difference and it could hurt your performance. So if you want the absolute best frames, put this on very low and then put everything else to low or off. Next, you're going to go to your FOV and you're going to change this to your preferred FOV. I play on 120. It's just something that I'm used to now. It gives you the lowest amount of visual recoil. You'll notice that when you start to put this lower, right, we'll go to something egregious like 90, your gun is going to start kicking and recoiling a lot more, at least visually. But overall, if you notice, the recoil plots are basically identical. This does not actually reduce. Here, actually, let me show you. Let me turn on bullet impacts. That way you guys can actually see the recoil plots. So that's on 90 FOV, right? We're going to turn our FOV up to 120. We're going to shoot directly to the side of it. And the recoil plots should basically be identical. Yeah, exactly. So again, it just makes your gun look like it's recoiling less, but it not actually is. For those of you guys that are looking for a more nuanced approach to your FOV, I want you guys to find a balance between visual recoil and visibility. If you are on 120 and you notice that enemies are far too small and way too hard to see, I want you to turn this down. If you notice that your gun recoil feels like it's fucking going everywhere when you are on a lower FOV, then turn this up. You want to find a balance. Most pros that play in the CDL will find that something from 100 to 105 is relatively balanced, where you're not getting a crap ton of visual recoil, but you can also still see targets that are far away. So I want you to try, settings all the way from like 100 to maybe 110 if you're a competitive player, but I wouldn't go higher than 120 unless you just want to try it out or it's something that you're just dedicated to get used to. I just do it because it looks good visually, but I will admit there are disadvantages to playing on it. So I wouldn't recommend this to the average person unless you're just a 120 FOV enjoyer or a Warzone player that uses like scoped weapons a lot of the time. Next, you're going to go to your ADS field of view and put this on affected. If you put this on independent, when you go to aim in, your gun will zoom in very, very far. And while this could be good on some weapons that have very low visual recoil, I overall would not recommend, keep on. I'd play on affected. Next, you're going to want to put your weapon field of view on wide. If you put it on narrow, you'll notice your gun gets a lot bigger and fatter and it takes up more of the screen on the bottom right. Whereas if you put this on wide, your gun sticks out a little bit longer and it's a lot more skinny. So it takes up less of your screen relative to your FOV. Next, you're going to go to world motion blur, turn this off. Weapon motion blur, turn this off. Camera movement, make sure this is all in the lowest settings because you don't want your screen shaking around. Next, you're going to want to go to audio and here turn on Nived's headphone mode if you have it. I like the way it sounds. Put your audio mix to your preferred audio mix. I personally like the way headphones sounds. It sounds good to me. Make sure you guys choose your audio device that you guys want your audio to be playing out of. And then asymmetrical hearing compensation. I tried playing with this on Black Ops 6, and what I noticed what it does is it turns down the ambient noise a lot. Like, I don't hear the wind as much when I turn this off or turn this on. However, one thing I do notice when I turn this on is that sometimes I just can't hear directions of footsteps very well. This will also allow you to come in here and play around with the frequencies if you turn this on. So if you guys want some custom EQ in the game's functionality, you can turn this on and go mess with the custom EQ. Next, you're going to want to turn on reduce tinnitus sounds. Nobody likes tinnitus, so may as well turn it on. And then hit marker preset. I just play on classic because I like the way it sounds, but overall this doesn't really matter. Next, you're going to go to interface. You're going to turn on skip introduction movie. You don't want that whole Treyarch Activision thing playing every single time. Telemetry, put this on custom and then put it on FPS server and packet loss, so that way you guys can see if you're lagging in game or not. Next, you're going to go over to readability. Here's where you would have your custom palette for icons relative to you, your enemies, your party members, and all that stuff. I leave this on default. Color filter, I know some people like to play on color filter 2, and what they'll do is they'll put it on color filter 2 and they'll put it on both. And what this will do is it'll make it so a filter gets put on the game. And typically filter 2 will just make things look a little bit more brighter, a little bit more red. But I personally just have not used it in this game. I haven't tried it. In the last game, I played with it on and off, but overall, most of the time I played with it off, okay? Next, we're going to go over to gameplay HUD. And so now this is where you guys can customize your HUD. HUD presets are here. You can try the zombies one if you like the colors of it, but I play on standard because I think this is a little too distracting. And you're going to hit R1 and go to layouts. So in this game, they unfortunately don't have magnified to make your mini map a lot bigger, but there's still other settings that you guys can always try. Standard is nice. That's what I play on. Classic gives you that classic Black Ops 2 layout. If you guys like the way that's laid out, you guys can always try it. It puts the score at the bottom left and it moves your health bar up towards your mini map. But I personally like having all of the relevant information that I need, like score and all that stuff, near the mini map. It's just a lot easier to see. Here you can change your scale. So I actually am going to load into a game real quick for you guys, so you guys can see how this actually affects your HUD. For those of you guys that are curious, you do this real quick. This will get you a better understanding of how the scale actually affects your game. Because in this game, having your scale on a really high level doesn't actually make your minimap bigger. So that's why I actually turned it down. Okay, so now that we're loaded into a game, I'll show you exactly how the scale actually affects your game. Load in, make sure all the HUD assets get loaded in. Okay, so now that you guys can see everything,
eyes up, system's hot.
We're gonna go over to interface. We're gonna go over to scale, and okay, let me turn this down to the lowest amount. So I made my scale smaller. I want you to look at the mini map. Look at the size of it. We're gonna line this up, right? See the corner of the building, right? So if it gets smaller, you'll see it shrink, okay? Or if it gets bigger. We're gonna put our scale to the highest level, and the mini map is still the same size. All this is doing by turning this up is it's making your weapon widget, your health widget, all that stuff, your streaks, really big. Personally, I don't think I need to see those very big. I think those can be damn near as small as possible. It's not that relevant information for me. It takes up too much of the screen, and I think having it a smaller amount will allow me to just be able to see a lot more in game. If you guys think that's too small, maybe turn this up to like -20, and those will become a little bit bigger. But overall, I just do not recommend putting this on the highest amount. Next, you can go to our HUD widget visibility, and you can actually tune what you want hidden or what you want available. So loadout information is the thing on the bottom right. You'll notice that my gun on the bottom right is now gone if I turn that down. Okay, but that is relevant information, so I'm going to keep that on. I personally don't ever use the compass, so I turn this off. Score streak widget, I want to see my score streaks. Score widget, that's on the top left where you can see what the score is. You're going to want that on, so make sure you guys keep the score widget on. And then we are going to go to HUD info visibility. So player names, I have abbreviated. I don't want to see their clan tags. It just allows me to read the players better. Play player health bars. If you don't want health bars, turn this off, but I want them. Player and streak toast. So what this is going to do is whenever somebody calls in a streak, it's going to show it a little announcement at the top. You want to keep this on. Medals and notifications. Whenever I play ranked, I typically turn the medals off. They're just very distracting. They take up part of the screen, and I don't really care if I got a double kill or I got a turn on medal. It doesn't really matter to me. But if you're playing pubs and stuff like that, and you're using it to keep track of whether you got like certain kills for certain camos or certain calling cards, keep this on. Score feed, whenever you get kills or shoot at players and stuff like that, and you see that score pop on the side of your screen, that will be the score feed. Elimination feed is your kill feed. Elimination ID is the thing at the bottom that tells you who you killed or who you got killed by. And then in-game text chat, if you guys don't want to see people texting in chat, turn this off. HUD bounds. I play with this all the way zoomed into the center because what this means is I don't have to look at the top left of my screen to see my mini map as much, right? It's a lot easier to kind of just move around my eyes and see the relevant information that I need to see in game. So that's what I play with on that. And then here you can actually change some of the things. If you put this on radar, you'll notice that your mini map turns into a radar instead of a map. I don't know why you would ever play on this, but hey, if you do, go ahead. Mini map rotation, if you turn this off, your mini map will not rotate with your character and it'll be static. I think this is very weird and disorienting, so personally, I do not like playing with that on. I play with the compass off, so turn that off. Here, you're going to change whether you play with the crosshair or not. If you turn crosshair completely off, you will only have a center dot on the center of your screen. I know some people like this. You can also change the, how big the crosshair dot is. If you guys want it to be larger, you can go ahead and do that, but I personally don't like how big it is. So I've actually been playing with it on, I think, default or the larger doesn't look too bad, but for some reason with larger, if you turn this crosshair on, you'll notice that it starts to look a little weird. You see how it has that little hollow circle around it? So whenever you turn the crosshair on, that it does that, and I don't know why. So that's why I've been playing with it on default. I also want to try something else to see if this will fix it. Let me turn crosshair dot completely off. Okay, that doesn't actually fix it. But yeah, turning crosshair off will get rid of that dot in the center of your screen. Personally, not a fan of this. So I would personally recommend putting this on static, keeping crosshair line spread off because you don't want your crosshair moving around like this, right? Maybe it'll allow you to hit fire better if you can see, how much your hit fire spreads. Personally, I keep this on static. That way my crosshair, wait, why is it not working? What did I change? Oh, here. It's the crosshair line spread. Yeah, crosshair line spread. I put it on static. That way when I go to hit fire, I don't see my crosshairs moving around a lot. It allows me to keep track of the center of my screen better. And then I also do the same with the crosshair dot and I keep it at the default scale. Crosshair opacity, if you turn this down, it'll make your crosshair less visible. And then here's where you can apply basic colors to your crosshair in case you guys like certain colors for your crosshair dot. But overall, I just play with the white one. I think it looks fine. I don't really need to have any other crosshairs color. So recommend whatever you nice to your eyes. Keep these two on. Motion reduction preset. This is, don't turn these on. Don't try these. They're pointless. They're for people that have motion sickness and stuff like that. So you'll see these lines in the center of my screen will help you, I guess, not have as much motion sickness. But yeah, they're not pointless. They're pointless to do. They're not competitive. They don't do anything special for you. If you turn these on, you'll see these dots around your screen. Yeah, just don't even bother using these at all. Dang, okay. Vignetting, I actually haven't tried this. Well, I think what it does is it puts this like hint around the edges of your screen. See if I can make this more visible. Yeah, you'll notice at the top left of my screen, there's like a black aura. Don't really see the point in playing with that. So yeah, just don't touch any of these settings. They're very pointless. Next, you're going to go to your account settings and you're going to turn off dismemberment. Those are distracting. You don't want to see body parts and explosions flying around whenever people die. If you're trying to be as competitive as possible, it's just not distracting. And that's pretty much it. All right, so that's going to do it for all the graphic settings in the game, man. I pretty much went over everything possible. The only thing left to do is I'm going to show you guys how to overclock your controller. What this is going to do is if you are playing on a PlayStation controller, you cannot do this on Xbox, I believe, but I know there are some controllers on Xbox that are higher in polling rate. I don't think you need to overclock them though. I think they're just plug and play. But what this is going to do on PC, it's going to allow you to have the highest, best response time on your controller as possible. So let's go over to our Windows screen. We are going to show you guys where to do that and where to get the program that you need to do that. The first thing you are going to do, you're going to go over to your browser. Then you're going to type in Battle Beaver overclocking. And you're going to go to overclocking right here. Then you are going to go to the bottom and download this. Once you have this downloaded, you will notice that you have this folder in your file explorer. If I can find it real quick so that way I can actually show you where that is. just recently re-downloaded it, so it should be here. So it's right here, and you're gonna right click it, you're gonna hit extract all, and then it's going to extract into this file. You can put this file wherever you like. I have mine on my desktop. Then you're gonna go here, you're gonna go to the driver, you're gonna go to setup.exe, it's gonna ask you to run it. Then you're gonna go here, and you're gonna see a list of your devices. You're gonna want to find the device that says, where is it? Audio endpoint speakers, DualSense Edge or DualSense or DualShock or whatever.
Get serious,
Then you're going to click on it. You're going to click on filter on device. You're going to go to your selected rate, and you're going to click on 8K if you're playing on a PS5 controller, or 1K if you are playing on a PS4 controller. If you're playing on a PS5 controller and you like the way 1K feels, or 4K feels, or 2K, you're more than welcome to try it, but 8K will give you the absolute lowest latency possible. Once you've selected it, you're going to hit install service, hit run, hit open. You're going to give it a second, let it do its thing. Then you're going to unplug your controller and plug it back in. And once it's plugged back in, you're going to go to, let it go. You're going to go to with HID USBF, and it's going to show you the one that you have installed, which is my DualSense Edge. If you have yes, your selected rate, whatever B interval it's on, it's going to change based upon the rate that you put, so don't worry about it. But if you have yes in your rate and it's green, you're good to go, and this will give you the lowest latency possible on your controller. So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. We're going to have a new video coming out very soon where we're going to be talking about all our impressions of the game, what I think needs to be changed, what I think needs to be buffed, and also what I really like about the game. So stick around. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. If you guys enjoyed the settings video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Thank you all for watching. Peace. See y'all later.